It's out of order.
What's
You're
that
calling,
about?
you're asking that it be out of order.
Yeah, it's not pertaining to the warrant, and it's not, I mean, why is it being shoved in here now?
John, the DRA suggested that we do this at this meeting.
The one in Ireland, or what?
No, the DRA recommended us to do this since of the meeting.
We'll do it at the end of the meeting when we're all gone home.
That's what we wanted to avoid, John.
I will allow the selectmen to get a sense of the meeting, but not to drag the meeting on with a discussion about what we want on the building at this point in time. I will allow us to get a sense of the meeting, but without discussion on that one article.
Janet Moorhead, can
Yes,
I just clarify, because she mentioned a figure, that doesn't mean, though, that you would be able to go spend any money because we weren't duly warned.
No. This is a sense of the meeting. This article has been kicked around. Is there a sense of the meeting that they want the... Mr. Sargent.
Sam Sargent. I would very much like to hear from the public service people about, since a location was mentioned, about the appropriateness of that location. Seems to me that the center of gravity of town is moving west on the Tenny Mountain Highway, and if you're considering response time, maybe that would be a more appropriate direction.
I would entertain a renewal of the motion actually to pass over until the end of the session, and not because of your question, but only because I think that I was asked to allow them to ask for a sense of the meeting, and I would prefer not to get into a discussion at this time. We just had a discussion on a couple of non-binding. Certainly I can be overruled, but I think John does have a motion to pass over if there's a second. And I'm going to ask for a vote to pass over this until the latter part of the meeting so that we can discuss it at that time. All those in favor of passing over this sense of the meeting at this time say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're going to pass over it. We can bring it up at the end of the meeting, and we can discuss it at that point in time. I have the vote on Article 14, which was the ballot vote on the petitioned article about directing the selectmen to cap the budget. There were 103 no votes, 17 yes votes. The article fails. That's Article 14 that fails. Yes, Ms. Berman. The count was 17 yes, 103 no. So the article failed. That's what I said. I hope. Thank you. But I would stand corrected if I didn't. And please do. Which brings us to Article 15. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $73,869 for F year 0910 welfare assistance as follows. Welfare officer, $9,869. Welfare vendor payments, $64,000. Is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I move Article 15 as read.
Second. Did I hear a second? Second. Been moved and seconded. Does the board have anything to say on Article 15? If not, I'll open it up for discussion. Mr. Wood.
I'd like to offer an amendment to increase welfare officer to an even $10,000 and to increase welfare vendor payments to $84,000. Last year, extra money was spent because of hardship, and this year and the coming times, it's going to really be hard. So I'd like to put that extra money in there just in case, and you know we're gonna need it, so it'll be there in case somebody needs it.
It's been moved and seconded to increase the amount of the welfare officer to $10,000 and the welfare vendor payments to $84,000.
And if you don't have enough money, you can increase my taxes.
Is there anyone who would like to speak to the amendment? There's no discussion on the amendment. We are voting on the amendment.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes,
I just had a point of information question, I think, for,
sure.
if we did exceed this amount of money during this coming budget year, where would the funds come from? Would it be the general fund? But from a pre-existing,
The question is, where would the
From the
money
general
come
fund.
from if we raise the
unreserved,
amounts?
but during
Could you
during this coming year?
Paul,
so
Paul,
during
if you're
this
going to,
fiscal-
and Paul, if you're going to answer, if you could use the microphone, please.
Mr. Moderator. Oh, I'm sorry.
Paul.
Darrell, when we sit down in September, we'll see how our general fund is. That's when we'll know the impact.
Once we pass that, sorry.
It
Once-
increases the amount of taxes that we would have to, that we would be obligated to raise. We won't know if we can offset it. Whatever gets voted on tonight, we have a tax rate setting this coming September for tonight's meeting. If you up tonight's meeting by $200,000,
Yeah, that's not the, so the question is, when we do, if we go over the 9869, we spend $1 more, that dollar comes from where during this fiscal year coming up? It comes from, we don't have time to raise taxes, so instead of raising it on the floor here, the funds are gonna come from unreserved balance, or?
no. It'll come from at the tax rate setting. It'll be added to the extra money that we have to raise for the tax rate. It's going to go to the bottom line.
It's my understanding that we are setting the budget, which starts the fiscal year starting July 1, 2009. And so the tax rate for that fiscal year will be set in September with a DRA. And so all we are doing is, the budget that comes in here is a proposal. Once we set it, it would have the same impact as this, and the money would be allocated from either taxes or
Spend it all, then, once we spend it all.
We didn't start with a particular amount of money. We are setting the budget tonight.
Correct. Mr. Wood's concern is that when we go past a certain amount, he's saying appropriate more. I'm saying, why do we need, I'm trying to get to the point of, do we need to do that? Because the funds will need to come from somewhere, from
They
pre-existing
will come from our
funds.
taxes in the final position. Do you wish to speak to the amendment, Ms.
I think I
Bentwood?
do.
Okay.
Kathy Bentwood, Plymouth. I'm the recent director of the Bridge House Homeless Shelter. To the best of my knowledge, the Bridge House is rarely approached by welfare to see if we have openings for people who need the services of vendors. I'm assuming vendors means motels. Now, there are deal breakers. The Bridge House is TV and DVD free. We've had people call us when they find out we don't have TV, they don't come. Motels usually do have TV. So I don't really know where this fits in, and I'm new at this job, but I am concerned that I think there's perhaps a more efficient process that could be followed. I understand when the Bridge House is full, that the town may need to pick up the tab. But the Bridge House right now has 5 empty beds, and we've had them for 2 months. So that's what I'd like to share with this body.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Moderator, I have a question. If
Mr.
we
Berman.
increase this to, what, $10,000 and $84,000, is that binding on the board?
You are authorized to spend that much money. That's my understanding. I'm not trying to give a legal opinion here. My understanding of your job is that we set the budget, and there are rules about the budget, but it's
Well,
not
last
the
year we had
moderator's
an item
position.
from the floor that was aimed at increasing a salary or giving somebody a raise, and as I recall, we were told that wasn't binding.
It's
It
my
was-
understanding that you're given a bottom line, and you can shift money around on the bottom line.
Okay, so this,
Yeah, right, but Paul, if you want to speak to that more than me, I'm just trying to run the meeting heavy.
Only the bottom line is what the selectmen are locked into. The $7 million, Tonight's bottom line is $7,339,013.30. Whatever gets changed today changes the bottom line. For the selectmen, you can make your recommendations anywhere in a line. They're all recommendations. Board of Selectmen have a power to move money around within their budget.
Mr. Sergeant, any follow-up?
Sam Sargent, referring to the blue page 116, the line 4441, Welfare Administration, shows that expenditure of $7,520 under the line 5, actual expenditures prior year. So it would look like the appropriations for column 6 ensuing fiscal year of $9,869 is more or less $2,000 increase. If Mr. Wood wants to make a contribution on top of that, that's fine with me, but it looks like there's already been an increase plugged into this account. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the amendment? Would you like to speak, Paul?
I just wanted to speak to the few people I saw shaking their head. I'm not saying that the selectmen won't go with the recommendation of any lines increase or decrease. I'm just saying what they're legally bound to. The selectmen's budget is legally bound to the bottom line.
Thank you. We're going to vote on the amendment that's on the floor. The amendment is to Article 15. The amendment is to increase the welfare officer line to $10,000 and the welfare vendor payment line to $84,000. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Opposed to the amendment, say nay. The amendment fails. It brings us back to the main motion. Is there further discussion on the main motion? Mr. Wood?
I'd like the permission to ask a question of somebody at the board, not the board, but the table, the holy table, Last Supper table.
John, yeah, if you'd like to, if you have a general question that pertains to Article 15?
Yes.
Thank you.
Last year, at the last minute, Larry, you received a raise. Did you get the money from the selectmen? Yes, you did. So I think the selectmen would probably do the right thing and give the raise for the money that was appropriated from the floor. In the hard times that are coming up, I can't see not anybody wanting to increase that small amount. They went over this year, according to the people that take care of the books. I asked them how much they went over this year, and they went over to $273 over from what was appropriated last year. So the selectmen had to pay that, didn't they? So I'm just guaranteeing that there's enough money there in case an emergency comes up, they can use it. If not, it goes back into the general fund. The other thing I'd like to ask is how much is right now in the general fund that hasn't been expended?
I don't know that we need an answer to that question for this particular amendment, John. If there's a quick answer from the table, is that an answerable question for you folks? Paul?
I can give a quick answer. Fund balance is $1,392,534.
Okay. I should have known. We are on Article 15. Is there further discussion? Is there further discussion on Article 15? If there's no further discussion on Article 15, Mr. Wood, you raised your hand. Oh, if there's no further discussion on Article 15, all those in favor of Article 15 as written, which means the welfare officer, $9,869, the welfare vendor payments, $64,000, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Article 15 passes. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,405,942 for FY 09-10 public safety, police, and parking as follows. Police Department, $1,322,714. Parking, $83,228. Is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 16 is read.
Is there a second? Article 16 has been moved and seconded. Is there anyone to speak to Article 16? Any discussion on Article 16? We will bring Article 16 to a vote. All those in favor of Article 16 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Article 16 passes. Brings us to Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,219,187 for FY 09-10 public safety and fire and ambulance as follows. Fire Department, $1,045,761. Ambulance, $173,426. Is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move that the Article 16, is it?
17.
17 be moved as read.
Is there a second? Article 17 has been moved and seconded. Is there anyone who would like to speak to that? Is there any discussion on Article 17? Mr. Wood?
How much money did the ambulance service take in last year for the town?
Chief, did you want to speak to that?
I have a figure you want me to.
Sure.
The figure I get is $489,289.
Is there further discussion on Article 17? That brings us to a vote on Article 17. All those in favor of Article 17 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Article 17 passes. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $429,604 for FY 09-10 for sanitation as follows. Recycling, solid waste disposal, $425,304. Pemmy Baker Solid Waste District dues, $4,300. Is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 18 is read.
Is there a second? Article 18's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Ahern.
Just a quick question. How much did we bring in on our recyclables last year?
It was $298,577.
And I think that's in a tough year for recyclables, actually, too. It's a tough market out there. Is there other discussion on Article 18? Mr. Wood. I'd wait till you get to the microphone and state your name, please.
Why are the dues going up at the, that's how important it is, I can't remember it. The Pemmican Solid Waste District. Wasn't it about $2,500 for a long time? And we weren't getting our money's worth then, and I don't think we are now. So we ought to probably think about cutting a little back there.
Is there further discussion on Article 18? No, you certainly can do that, sure. I thought you read.
John, they paid $28,000 to us to get rid of our hazardous waste. That's why we paid $4,300 in dues.
Is there further discussion on Article 18? Article 18, we'll bring that to a vote. All those in favor of Article 18 say aye. Aye. Opposed? Article 18 passes. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $788,944 for fiscal year 09-10 for the Highway Department as follows. Highway Department, $728,944. Street lighting, $60,000. Is there a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move that we accept the article as read.
Is there a second? Article 19 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion from the head table? Then Mr. Hool, you're on.
Bill Hool. I wanted to take this opportunity to commend the Highway Department manager and his team of workers for the outstanding work that they have performed on our streets and sidewalks during this very difficult winter. I didn't think they could surpass what they did fighting last year's winter, but I think they've exceeded last year's very commendable work that they did. And I think they deserve recognition for that effort. Having said that, I want to make the observation that last winter we had a lot of damage to our infrastructure. This winter we've got even more severe damage to our infrastructure, not the least of which is some of the new roads that were reconstructed this past construction season. And in looking at the details of the Highway Department budget, think that it's underfunded in terms of maintaining the existing infrastructure and to make the needed repairs and corrections to the damage that is already clearly in evidence and only going to become more obvious as the weeks go on into April. And I would urge the board to consider or reconsider their infrastructure funding for maintenance and for repairs, as well as some new construction that is going to be unanticipated but needed. I will not specify an amount. I'm bringing it to their attention for their consideration.
Thank you. Sir.
Bill?
Answer the question.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll let Mr. Cushing speak first.
We still have non-lapse. He still has non-lapsing revenues in his budget. We have non-lapsing revenue in his budget, so
You've got unexpended revenue
Yeah.
from this year's budget that you're
Yeah.
going
to
to augment what's in this budget
Yes.
to help deal with that situation.
Yep.
I might cite a specific example that was very disturbing to me, and that is Merrill Street, the street that you live on, Butch. The roadway is not performing the way it should be performing for the design that was developed for that roadway. And I hope that this board is going to hold the contractor or contractors to task to make those corrections, to get the elevations to the catch basins corrected so that the water goes where it's supposed to go, and the conditions will presumably be corrected as they were intended to be corrected. What I see down there now, you're getting pooling as bad as there was before the road was rebuilt.
Yeah, it's already done, Bill. Contractor's been contacted, so we're on top of it.
Sir.
Christopher Boyle, Town of Plymouth. Have we ever considered using more steam systems under our roadways and sidewalks as opposed to using more salts and plowing services? Yeah, I know some of the walkways here in Plymouth, we use the steam systems for our different trees and things of that nature, but have we considered using it on our roads and sidewalks mainstream?
Mr. Moderator. Okay.
If I'm correct, you said steam?
Yes, sir. Steam, as in water.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't considered that at all because the cost would be enormous. where you've seen that in the town is supplied by the college with their steam lines under the roads and some sidewalks. No, I wouldn't even hesitate or guess how much that would cost us. It would be in the millions.
Okay, I was just looking at the salt cost around $30,000 a year, and a new highway truck and plow truck for this year was somewhere around $100,000, and just trying to think long term. That's all.
I can tell you that the college pays to just generate steam, and I know because I worked on that steam plant, is in excess of, just for fuel, probably $2 million. So, yeah, we pay $30,000 for salt. You consider the cost of fuel to run steam generators and the cost of putting pipes under the road. You could never, ever do it. I agree with you, it would be a great, great idea, but I don't think we could ever afford it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Kelly.
I would just like to say that the Main Street is not the town's responsibility, it is the state's responsibility, and if somebody is complaining about the Main Street down by the dry cleaners, then the state is the one that is responsible. Besides that, for about 15 years, there has been a woman stand up in the audience and pleaded with people to do Merrill Street. And we did Merrill Street this year. I understand that we have a few problems with the engineer, and it's been bonded and everything so that we will fix it. One other thing is that when they were originally considering Merrill Street, they were going to only put in the 6-inch pipe that is there already, hoping if they tipped this road to one side, that would take care of the problem of the water. We found out after researching that the state required at least 12 to 15-inch pipe, which we did put in, and we put in extra manholes and so forth. So we have done everything that we possibly can. It's winter time now, and as soon as it is physically possible, we will be taking care of it. Thank you.
Mr. Sansucci.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I've lived in this town now for 25 years, and the spot that we're talking about here has been like a lake. Now, they've just re-engineered the road, and I'm not sure what happened before or then, but I know this year I went down to Town Hall personally and spoke with the town administrator, Mr. Freitas, and asked him personally if they were going to put drainage in there, because it looked like they weren't going to do anything. Now, I don't know what this project cost us, but I'm darn well sure that we need to get it corrected and need to have it done. So it's reassuring to know that at least this board recognizes that it needs to be done, and hopefully next year when we come back to town meeting, it'll have been done and we'll have the type of road that we paid good money for. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on Article 19? Then we'll bring Article 19, which regards the Highway Department. We'll bring that to a vote. All those in favor of Article 19, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 19 passes.
Mr. Moderator, I move to restrict reconsideration of Articles 13 through 19.
There's been a motion to reconstrict consideration of Articles 13 through 19. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mr. Wood.
Before you take a vote, can I ask one small question on 16 on street lighting?
Not on the motion to restrict reconsideration. That motion has passed. It's not debatable. But if you had a question about street lighting, we've gone past that at this time, John.